Why smart children are often the most afraid to fail. Why smart children are often the most afraid to fail. Hmm. All right, let me turn off. Sorry, sorry, please. I need to work on my sound here. Okay, sorry. I need to turn off. I was watching my channel on another device, so the voice is echoing. So, why smart children are often the most afraid to fail, and what parents accidentally, do. What parents do accidentally that contribute to this? What parents do accidentally to those children? What if the child who gets the best grade, in class is actually the child who is most afraid of failing? Hmm? What if? What if? What if the child everyone calls gifted, brilliant, exceptional, talented, extraordinary is actually secretly developing anxiety, fear every single time the child makes mistakes? What if many things parents do to encourage excellence are actually creating that fear? Like I do say, a lot of times, what we do to our children that affects them mentally, emotionally, even academically, we do them out of love because we actually love our children. But I've said this over and over again. You have good intentions. Yes, we know. But your good intention will not erase the damage your lack of skill and parenting tool will cause your children. So, what if many things that we do to encourage our children, to encourage excellence, are actually damaging the so called smart child, intelligent child, extraordinary child, super kids, and all of that? What if? Most parents worry why their children struggles. Many of us do. Only very, very, very few worry when their child succeed. Of course, when a child is doing well, a child is thriving academically, a child is sound, the child can speak anywhere, it seems that the child has confidence. What do you need to worry about? As parents, you may ask, now, what is this coach saying? My child is doing well, so why do I need to worry? So, very few parents worry when their child, you know, excels. But some of the most intelligent children grow up carrying invisible burden. Invisible burden. Most of them believe that mistakes are dangerous. Maybe as you are, if you are one of the so-called intelligent child, as when you are young, during your childhood, maybe you will understand what I am saying. So they believe that Failure feels catastrophic, like failure is a bad thing. When in the real sense of it, failure is good. Failure is a gift. Failure is not the opposite of success as we normally say it. No, failure is the doorway to success. So most intelligent children grow up. They grow up carrying invisible scars, invisible bodies. They believe that mistakes are dangerous. They believe that failure feels catastrophic. And then their identity become tied to performance. Tied to performance. And so today we are exploring why smart children are often the most afraid to fail, and what you do unknowingly that contributes to this. If you are with me, let me hear you say hi, coach, in the comments box, in the chat box. Let me hear you say hi, coach. Hi, coach. All right. So, as a parenting educator, I have working with many families whose children look successful on the outside. Mm? But these children are struggling internally with fear, with anxiety, with perfectionism, with performance pressure, with the feelings of I'm not good enough. Yes. And outside, it seems that these children have even worked with, a few that their parents will say, I'm so proud of my child. Oh, my child is doing well. My child is dating. Of course, we all need to be proud of our children, whether our child are doing well or not. But the point I'm talking about is that we do not, many of us, many parents, we do not really understand, or we careless, we borderless about our children's internal, expression, especially when these children looks appears intelligent, when these children appear smart, when these children appear to be brave, and all of that. So by the end of this class, you will understand why intelligence and fear of failure often go together. Many of us may not, see to this, but oftentimes intelligence and fear of failure often go together if not well managed. If an uninformed or an unequipped parent is raising an intelligent child, oftentimes intelligence and fear of failure often goes together. You will also understand the hidden message smart children receive. The hidden message smart children receive. You will also understand the psychology behind perfectionism. The psychology behind perfectionism and what parents unintentionally do to reinforce it. Most of the things, most of the damages we cause our children, they are honestly out of good intention, out of goodwill, because we love our children, because we want our children to do well, we want our children to try, because we want to become a proud parent. Yes, I understand that. Then I'm not going to stop there, as you all know. I will give you practical ways to raise confident learners instead of fearful performance. A lot of us are raising fearful performers. So I'm going to give you the skills. I will teach you the practical ways that you need to raise confident learners instead of fearful, performance. All right. So let's first talk about the surprising problem nobody talks about. This problem, in fact, many of us don't even see it as problem. Many of us just assume once our children comes home with good grades, in those days when they normally give uh position, yes, position. Once we see that our children comes home with good grade, maybe first position, second position, third position, we bother less about every other thing. All right. Is this okay? Okay. So we bother less about every other thing. We just assume that our children are just doing fine. Hmm? So the surprising problem nobody talks about. The problem here is not intelligence. No, the problem is not intelligence. The problem is what intelligence causes adults to do. You can put that in the chat box if you get that. I said the problem here is not intelligence, not at all. But the problem is what intelligence causes adults to do. And that's why I'm in class tonight to address this. So let's imagine two children. Two children. One struggles academically, other learns quickly. If you have two children or even more, maybe you would have experienced this. You are likely to see that a child is doing, better than, by your own definition, by your own definition, that a child is doing better than another child. Mm? So, which of these two children, which of them would you praise more? Of course, the one that is doing well, the one that you think that is doing better. For me, I don't believe that a child is doing badly, except it has been clinically diagnosed. Maybe the child is having developmental challenges, or the child is struggling with attention span. Even attention span is a skill, you can train it. Yes, it is a skill. Or a child is struggling with ADHD, or autism. Aside that, if the child is not dealing with any developmental challenges, no clinical diagnosis of any sickness or any, no, every child is unique. If you are thinking that a child is not doing well, it could just mean that you have not set up the right environment for that child to thrive. It would just mean that you have not been able to identify the child's area of strength. It could just mean that you are just focusing on the child's weakness. And no child thrives under that situation. So usually the second one that seems to be doing well is the one that will get praised mostly. And over the time, this very called, the very tagged smart child, intelligent child, over the time, the child keep hearing, you are smart, you are gifted, you are brilliant, you get it right every time, and all of that. You don't mean it. And these statements all sound encouraging, right? Some of us will even say, a parent was talking to me, and she was bold enough, she was sincere enough, yes, she was sincere enough to open up that she normally compares her child, the eldest child seems to be struggling academically, and the other one seems to be doing better according to her. So she compares. She will tell the older one, you can see your younger one, your younger sibling, you can see how she's doing and all of that. These statements sound encouraging, but the hidden underneath is a dangerous message. Underneath this statement, you are brilliant, you are good, you are intelligent, you are smart, you are brave, you always get things right. The hidden message, the underneath that message is dangerous. And the message is that my value comes from succeeding. My value comes from succeeding. And if you ask me, it is as good as it sounds, it is a very, 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 very dangerous message to a smart child or to any child. Mm? My value comes from succeeding. It means that you are, you know, tagging that child, you are attaching that child's value, that child's identity to success. And that is usually not the case. So, for instance, a child scores maybe 80 or 85, and instead of celebrating the efforts that this child, you know, wakes up every day, dresses up for school, goes to school, even the day that he or she doesn't feel like going to school, even as an adult, there are days that you wake up and you feel like, I just feel like I should stay more in bed. But because you know what you want to do, you just, tap yourself, get up, you resume for work. Children also feel the same. Hmm? So even in those days, this child still, tried to show up. This child tried, sat for exam, put in effort, and instead of celebrating the effort, because the child did not score 98, 99, 100, or because the child is not among the first three, you you don't even celebrate the child. And soon the child begins protecting the image of being smart. That's what happens. Then learning becomes secondary. Unfortunately, unfortunately, we the parents, we don't notice this. Learning becomes secondary and protecting the identity becomes the primary. That's the hidden message. Protecting the identity becomes primary, which shouldn't be. It shouldn't. And learning that's supposed to be the primary then becomes secondary. These are not physical things that you see. They are not. And this is why many parents will assume that their child are thriving once they are doing well. Once this child appears to be smart, to be confident, to be intelligent, to be intelligent. So let's talk about why smart children fear failure more than others. Remember, we are talking about why smart children are the most afraid to fail and what parents do accidentally, to these children. Why smart children fear failure more than other children. The first reason is because they become identified with success. They become identified because unconsciously parents attached value, to success. Most parents will celebrate their children only when they do well. You are sending a wrong message to that child. And that child, no matter how smart your child is, your child will be afraid to fail. Your child will fear failure more than others. And if you raise a child who is afraid to fail, honestly, I do not want to say that you have created a failed parenting system, but that is the truth. That is just the truth. You will agree with me that without failure, there cannot be success. Was it in the last class I was talking about, all these prayers that we pray, especially those of us that are, prayer gym. I shall not fail. I will not fail. That, yes, it's good to pray. Yes. But I can confidently tell you that if you don't fail, you are not likely to be successful. You are not likely to succeed. I have studied successful people and I have not seen a single one, not just one, that succeeded without failing. I'm currently reading a book, How to Win Your Customer and Keep Them for Life. And the author listed about 7 or 8 successful business people. And he outlined the various, you know, businesses that they have run that failed. Some seventh time, some started succeeding the 7th time, some the 6th time, some the 9th time. So if you are raising a child who is afraid to fail, hmm, who fears failure, man, sir, excuse me, you are not doing well. You are not doing well. So because they become identified with success, so these children naturally ask, who am I? Hmm? They ask, who am I? And when adults repeatedly connect identity, when you repeatedly connect identity with achievements, unconsciously, unintentionally, hmm, smart kids, gifted kids, brave kids, top students, first class students, and all of that, failures begin to feel like identity loss. Failure begins to feel like identity loss. So the child feels that if I fail, then this is not me. I'm no longer. The reason why someone will want to take his or her life, because the person failed exam. Hmm? All right. So a child who sees himself as smart things, oh, if I fail, then I'm no longer smart. Can you get that? If I fail, I'm no longer smart. And I can confidently tell you that even as a smart child, you can fail. In fact, you should fail. Because if you do not fail, it's either you are not learning, it just means you are not growing. Because failure is part of growth. It's part of growth. And that feelings is terrifying. When a child feels that if I fail, then I'm not smart again. I'm not smart again. Sometimes ago, I think about 2 years ago or so, there was an incident of a young lady who failed JAM exam. So she, I think she was a girl, yes. I held the live session, to talk about it. And this lady, you know, took her life. And I made a post. I was writing about the incident, sensitizing parents and all of that. And I remember one of my posts. I said, we need to teach our children that as much as it is good to do well academically, that is not the end of life. That if they fail, they can try and fail again. And somebody, you know, was not comfortable with that statement. And the person attacked me and he said, yeah, children of these days, if you tell them that they won't do well, they won't even bother to do well academically. But can I shock you? That's not true. If you create the right system in your home, honestly, that no child will grow up with that mentality that I should not try. One of The affirmations that our children read every day is that I can fail, I can try, fail, and try again. Almost every day they say this. And do you know why? And do you know what I mean? They will always want to try. Mommy, can I do this? Mommy, can I? That statement is empowering. You just think, no, it won't. It won't limit that child. It won't make that child to become uh, how will I call it? It is an empowering statement. When a child knows that I can try, I can try and fail and still try again. It's empowering, it's encouraging. It's encouraging. Then the number two is that they experience less productive failure. Less productive failure. And one of the things I said that time was that I challenge parents that parents need to create a platform for children to fail when the stakes are low, so that when the stakes are high, even when they fail, they will be able to handle the failure. They will be able to handle the failure. The difference between successful people, one of the differences between successful people and the unsuccessful people is because those that are successful understand how to manage their failures. That's just it. They know what to do with failure. They know what to do with failure. So many smart children succeed early. Things come naturally. They don't struggle academically. So they don't develop struggle muscle. I made a video about raising confident children. It's available on my channel. And I said that failure is a muscle. Failure is a muscle. The more you put your muscle at work, the more stronger it becomes. The more stronger it becomes. Look at those people, the bouncers, the heavy lifters, because they keep exercising, they keep building muscle, they keep building it. So failure is a muscle. The more we create platform, we allow our children to fail, the better for them, the stronger they are, the stronger the resilience. Hmm? So because things come naturally, because they don't they don't develop struggle muscles, they eventually they meet something difficult, and what happens? They are crushed. So instead of persistence, they experience panic. They experience panic instead of being persistent, because they have never handled failure. Some of us, we even do everything for our children. You fix the button for your child. You have a 3-year-old child, a 4-year-old child cannot fix the button. You fix the shirt button, you fix the shoe nail, you pick dresses for the child, you do this for the child. Some of us even do homework for our children just because we want them to be fine. We don't want them to struggle. Hey, come here. If you're raising a child like that, you are just shifting the evil day forward. It's better you allow your child to try, fail, and try again. So when that child eventually face difficulty, of course, you must have heard me say this, and this is the reality. You would also bear with me witness that no matter how life seems pleasant for you, no matter how life seems beautiful for you, no matter how wealthy you are, or even your parents, a time will come that you'll be faced with challenges. Definitely. A time will come. A time will come. What the challenges will be, I do not know. But a time will come, you'll be faced with difficult moments. It could be in career, It could be in academic, it could be health wise, it could be in business, it could be in marriage, it could be anything. But a time will come that anyone who is still living will be faced with difficult moments. So if you don't prepare your children, if you have not, equip your children to be able to handle struggle, difficulty, they will be crushed. So instead of persistence, they will experience panic. All right. So in few minutes, I'm going to show you why some of the most resident uh, adults were actually average students as children. Let me take you back in memory lane. If you can flash back in your school, maybe your primary school or secondary school, those that are top of the class, those that normally take first position, second position, where are they today? Where are they? The reason why we have first class students that are struggling, first class students that are struggling. Hmm? So let me talk about the praise trap. The praise trap. And many of us has fallen into that trap unknowingly. The sentence sounds so helpful, so encouraging, so beautiful. Oh, you are smart. Oh, you are brave. I'm proud of you. You mean well. You mean well. And I'm not saying you should not praise your child. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just letting you to know the hidden message so that you will know how exactly to do it and how not to do it. All right. So you mean well. But research in developmental psychology suggests that ability focused praise, listen please, ability focused praise creates fixed beliefs about intelligence. Let me say this again. And if you are here with me and you understand what I'm saying, please put it in the chat box. I said research has shown that ability focused praise creates fixed belief about intelligence. Let me explain this like I'm talking to a 5-year-old child. I'm sure that there's no 5-year-old child listening to me. So when you praise based on your child's ability, then you will create a belief, a fixed belief about intelligence. For instance, your child is good academically. You have two children. Okay, let me use this illustration. You have two children. One is good academically. One seems to be struggling academically, but he's doing well, in social skills. And you now focus on the one doing, most of us focus mainly on academics. Once a child is doing well academically, oh, the child is the best. And once a child is not doing well academically, that child is olodo, that child does. Some of us will even say that that child may not amount to anything, but that's not true. That is not true. Life has proven again and again that academic is just one of the aspects, one, just a door, just a window to success. You can do well academically. A child can do well academically and still struggle in life. We have seen it over and over again. We have seen it over and over again. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Let me quickly shed small light on that before um, before I move on. So let me at this point talk about Carol Dweck work. He said that children begin believing I succeed because I'm smart. Is that a problem? Yes, it is. When a child has that belief, it is a problem. What happens when they struggle? So instead of thinking, I need a new strategy, when that child is struggling, instead of thinking, oh, what do I need to do? I need a strategy. The child thinks, maybe I'm not smart at all. Maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I'm a dullard. Some parents will even open their mouth to call a child dullard. Hmm. Even a child. I have seen children autistic children, yes. I have seen one or two autistic child who is doing excellently. One is doing excellently in cooking. Autistic child. Hmm. All right. So, what's the better alternative? Instead of saying you are smart, you can say you worked hard. That's appreciating efforts, celebrating efforts over success. Instead of saying you are smart, you are brave, say, I notice your persistence. I notice your hard work. You learned something new. You persisted. Sometimes, even during when our children are doing homework or when they are done with their homework, I tell them, I can see the persistence in you. Even though you are tired, you still put in the best, your efforts to ensure that you get your own phone done. There is a way to praise. There's a way not to praise. There's a way to do it so that you can raise children who are not just smart, but children who will have confidence, who will know what to do with failure. You will raise children who will not panic when they are faced with difficult situations. All right? Okay. So now let's talk about what parents accidentally do. The mistakes, the parenting mistakes, the errors, the blunders that we commit unknowingly to us, unintentionally. The first one is celebrating outcome more than efforts. Celebrating outcome more than efforts. Most times, we fall into this trap and we don't even know. Can I burst your bubble? Trust me, I'm not a coach that will lie. I'm not a coach that will form perfectionism. My goal is not even to become a perfect parent. My goal is not even to raise perfect children. My goal is to keep growing. Yes, is to keep growing. Keep growing. Sometimes I fall into this trap also. But maybe the difference between you and I is because I am aware. So I'll be able to, quickly retrace my steps and do the needful and make the correction. And that is where intentionality comes in. That's where intentionality comes in. That is why you need to belong to a system where you will learn. Nobody has it all figured out at once. No. Like I do say, parenting is a journey. Is a journey. We keep going. We keep growing. We keep learning. That is parenting. So celebrating outcomes more than effort. Children notice when what gets attention. You think they don't notice before because in a session or a term that your child score a, I don't know, do they still use red pen to write report card? In our days then, when you get, I think when you get below 50 or something, they will write with red pen. That is to show you that you have failed this subject. That time when your child, when all the report cards are written with blue pen, you celebrate your child. You can even take your child out, and all of that, buy gifts. But that time that the child didn't do well, is either you are mute or you talk that child down. The child is noticing. The child is noticing. Children notice what gets attention. They notice that, okay, so my parents celebrate me when I do well. They notice. They know. They may not express it. They may not say it, but they notice. Then mistake two, the second mistake is rescuing children too quickly. too quickly. This one, I'm not there. No, I don't. We don't rescue our children quickly. Mm-mm, we don't. Mommy, come and help me to do this. Have you tried to do it? Yes. Have you tried another way? Yes, I've tried. Try again. Sometimes I tell them, what if I'm not around and you need to get this thing done? What would you do? And most of the time, they get the things done by themselves. I can't remember when last I've put on shoe for our baby. No, do it except if we are running out of time and we need to leave immediately. But outside that, they fix things by themselves, things that are age appropriate. Age appropriate. Hmm? So, rescuing children too quickly, parents hate watching children struggle. A lot of us don't want to see our children struggle. Before they struggle, we are stepped in. Even when our children are feeling bored, you just come in to rescue quickly. You don't want your child to struggle. And for many of us that usually fall into this trap, into this mistake, a lot of us are traumatized as a child. We are dealing with trauma. We don't know it. We are dealing with trauma. We are letting our childhood wound dictate how you parent. There was a time a friend of our two friends of our children came to stay with us. Two. They were twins. They came in with their nanny. Hmm. They were 9 years old. They were young, they were older than our daughter. 9 years old. 9 years old. These children cannot bath themselves. They cannot lay their beds. They cannot sweep. They cannot wash plates. They can't even do anything. The nanny do practically everything. Our daughter started having a bath by herself, I think at age 6. What will make me to be bathing for a 9-year-old child? What is wrong with me or what is wrong with her? What? These children cannot do anything. 9 years. They will wake up, leave their bed. The nanny will come and it is the nanny that will pick their undies, their clothes, everything they wear. I got irritated. But when I met the mother, I understand. The mother was parenting, from childhood because she suffered as a child. She told me that she was because I had to talk to her. Now, who are you raising? Who are you raising? The mother said she suffered as a child. She was doing house help from one house to the other. So she decided, she made up her mind that her children will not suffer. That's trauma. Hmm? That is trauma. And you will end up, if you are raising a child in that manner, you will end up creating more trouble for that child. So many parents hate watching their children struggle. But struggle is where resilience develops. It is the struggle that will build resilience in your child. This is one of the things I'm going to teach in our play therapy course. Then mistake number 3, making failure feel personal. Making failure feel personal. Comments like, that's not you. You are smarter than this. What happened? Why did you do it this way? What happened this time? May unintentionally communicate that failure is abnormal. I remember I made a post that when a child fails, a child writes exam and the child fails, that you shouldn't talk down on that child. You should support that child. And someone, a parent said, what you are saying is not easy. Oh, see, if my child writes an exam and my child fails, hmm, I'm not going to get angry. I'm not even going to, you know, I will give that child a good hug. I will let that child have the normal life. I will even celebrate that child for showing up, for putting in effort to even go and sit for that child. Then, when everything, after some time, then I would not ask question. What is it that you're supposed to do that you did not do? What do you think went wrong? Then we sort it out. I'm not going to talk down on any child for failing. No. When you do that, you are unintentionally communicating to that child that failure is abnormal. And failure is not. Failure is normal. Failure is normal. All right. Then mistake number 4 is comparing children. Comparison. Many. I remember many of us fall into this trap. I remember when we were growing up, my elder brother used to be a very, the kind of children you would tag as stubborn, very strong-hearted. And I could remember that most times my parents will be comparing me with him. And now I could see the resentment. I could see the resentment. Even positive comparison are harmful. Positive comparison are harmful. A parent once asked a question. She said, if I have two children and one is good at studying, one will go and pick his book and study, and the other one will not. Is it bad to say, your brother is studying, you cannot go and pick your book and study? And someone said it's okay that you are trying to encourage the child. And I said no, it sounds encouraging, but statements like that are harmful. It means you are the one doing well. See, this kind of statement, this kind of thing, comparing children, are the foundation for sibling rivalries for many families, for many siblings. If you ask some siblings why they hate themselves, why they stop talking to themselves, many of them may not even be able to point out what exactly happened. But because many times the parent has compared, see your brother, you can't do it, see what your brother is doing, and unknowingly to the parents, they are creating siblings rivalry. When you are compared, nobody likes to be compared. Nobody. Nobody. Once you are being compared with somebody, you immediately, develop a kind of hatred to that person. So parents, we need to watch this. So I said even positive comparison, they are harmful. You are the smartest in your class. Who told you that? You are better than your brother. You are doing better than your sister. They sound positive, but they are harmful. Very, very harmful. And comparison, apart from being a stealer of joy, it creates pressure and unnecessary pressure. Unnecessary pressure. Unnecessary pressure. All right. So children feel afraid of losing position. Oh, I'm smarter than my brother. That's the position. You are giving that child a position, and the child is afraid to lose that position. So the child stop trying because the child doesn't want to fail. The child wants to keep impressing. And the most damaging message isn't even the comparison. isn't criticism or pressure. It is something much more subtle. It's subtle. It's subtle. Now, the hidden message, smart children here. Are you with me? Are with me? Let me hear hi. Tell me hi in the chat box. The hidden message, smart children here. The hidden message, smart children here. I am loved most when I perform best. Parents rarely say this verbally, but we say it with our attitude, with the way we praise our children, with the way we acknowledge their, celebrate their successes. Hmm? So children often absorb it, even though we do not say it. Not from words, but from patterns. If you keep doing this repeatedly, consistently, you are creating patterns. Patterns. And your child will absorb what the patterns, the message, the patterns you are creating is sending to them. That is what your child will absorb. That is what your child will absorb. All right. A child receives praise after every achievement, but a little emotional connection during ordinary days. Ha. The child will learn that achievement creates connection. Because your child did well, say, oh, yeah, 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 come and give me a hug. Oh, yeah, 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 come, let me carry you, and all of that. What the child is learning is that achievement creates connection. That achievement creates connection. Let me clarify this so that you don't get this message wrong or confused. This is usually not intentional. It is usually not intentional. No. Most parents deeply love their children. In fact, almost all the parents. We love our children, like I said in my introduction. The issue is not love. The issue is how love is perceived. Yes, the issue is not love, but how love is perceived. And how children perceive love is very, very important, because that is what will shape their identity. That is what will shape how they see themselves, how they perceive themselves. And that will eventually, you know, be their internal voice. So we need to watch this. Then, why some average students become extraordinary resilient? We need to talk about this. Many average students encounter struggle earlier. Many average students, is that the child is struggling academically or emotionally. So the child has encountered struggle. Someone like me, I struggled with physics and mathematics and chemistry. Yes, and mathematics. Unfortunately, because I was an average student, it seems I was doing fine, and nobody even noticed my struggle. But I knew that I struggled. I knew that if I wasn't in if I weren't in a science class, I would have done better. So many average students encounter struggle earlier because they fail more often. They fail more often, so they develop recovery skills. Ha! I remember when I failed WAEC. I remember when I failed WAEC now. I failed exams. So when average students, when they are faced with struggles, with failure, they develop recovery skills. They build their resilience muscle. They learn that mistakes are survivable. Oh, I have failed before. I didn't die. So when I fail again, I will not die. They learn that mistakes are survivable. They learn that failure isn't fatal. No, excuse me. They learned that failure isn't fatal. They learned that persistence works. Of course, it does. It works. They learn that persistence um, works. All right. Okay. So think of a child who is riding bicycle. That's why I love children. I love it when children learn to ride. Hmm? Think of a child learning to ride a bicycle. The child falls. The falling teaches balance. You know, avoiding falling prevents learning. When a child falls now, the child, rises up, learn how to ride without falling. So academic and emotional development work similarly. It works similarly. It works similarly. And I want you to understand um, this powerful principle. Confidence does not come from avoiding failure. You don't teach confidence into a child. A child learns confidence through experience. You don't just tell your child, be confident, be confident, be confident. After all, the scripture has said, I've not given you the spirit of fear, but of power. First Timothy, right? 1:7, if I'm not mistaken. I've not given you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. See, as much as you quote this scripture to your child, let your child experience. Because confidence does not come from avoiding failure, it comes from surviving failure. And for anyone to survive failure, it means that person must fail first. So if you have been shielding your child from failure, come here. You are not doing well. I need to tell you. Change. All right, change. So, how to raise smart children who are not afraid of failure? One of the best things you can do to your child is to raise your child in such a manner that your child is not afraid of failure. A child who is not afraid of failure will become an achiever. Yes, will become an achiever. The first thing is to normalize mistakes. Normalize mistakes. We don't want our children to make mistakes. That means we don't want our children to learn. We don't want our children to grow. We don't want our children to build resilience. Normalize mistakes. Mistakes are part of life. Sometimes when our children make mistakes and they are telling me, say, Mommy, this happens. Before I say, yes, I know mistakes happen, they will say it. Mommy, I know mistake happens. Normalize mistake in your own. Normalize it. Normalize it. Talk openly about your own mistakes. I was addressing a group of parents recently. I told them a lot of us don't want to share our struggle with our children. We don't want to share our struggle. We don't want to tell our children the mistakes that we have made while growing up, the wrong choices that we have made, the wrong decisions that we have made, the consequence we face. We just tell our children, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. We have not shared the practicality of the matter. Normalize mistakes. If you want to raise children, smart children, not just smart children, but children who are smart and who are not afraid of failure, normalize mistakes. Model learning. When a child make mistakes, the child will learn how to do better, how to avoid that mistake next time. The second thing to do is praise process. Focus on effort, focus on strategy, focus on persistence, focus on improvement. Last term, your child scored 50. Even let's say your child scored 30. 30 is perceived to be failure, right? Your child scored 30 in one subject, and this term, that same child scored 50, and you're like, The children that are scoring 100, do they have two heads? At least you appreciate the progress, that 20% increment, the 20% increase. Celebrate it. Celebrate effort. Celebrate strategy. Your child will wake up in the middle of the night and read. And because the child fails the exam, they're like, so what have you been doing all night that you are waking up and reading? What have you been doing? Celebrate the process. Focus on effort. Focus on strategy. Focus on persistence. Focus on improvement. Then celebrate productive failure. I call it productive failure. Celebrate productive failure. Ask, what did you learn? Okay, you failed this, you did this and failed. What lesson did you learn? Sometimes I will just ask our children when they make mistake or when they do something and fail, and I'll ask them, what will you do better next time? What that says is that, what did you learn from this mistake? If they were not allowed to make mistakes, how will they learn? Of course they won't. What would you do differently? What will you try next time? Celebrate productive failure. Celebrate, I'm emphasizing this because many of us see failure as something bad. As something bad. I have seen parents that they will even punish their children for failing exams. It is wrong. It is wrong. Celebrate productive success. At least the child made an effort. Celebrate that. Then you now sit down, strategize, re-strategize. What is it that you need to do differently? How is it that you need to do this thing differently so that you can get a different result next time? Then the fourth strategy is separate identity from performance. Separate identity from performance. Frequently communicate. You are valuable because you are you. You are loved because you are you. You are celebrated because you are you. I do tell our children, whether you do well or you don't do well, we love you. We love you. Even sometimes when they exhibit bad behavior and when I want to correct them, I tell them, I love you so much. Whether you do well, you make mistakes, or you do not, I love you. But we will not tolerate this behavior. This behavior is unacceptable. So separate identity from performance. Communicate that your child is valuable because it's your child, not because he's doing well, not because of grades, not because of trophies, not even because of achievements. Let's be careful of this. Not because of achievements. Celebrate your child because your child is your child. Love your child because your child is your child. All right, our time is fast spent. Then number five, create safe to fail environments. Create safe to fail environment. I said this earlier. Allow challenges, allow experiments, allow imperfect attempts. Let them try. So far it is harmless. Let them try. Create a safe space. Let them try small failure when the stakes are still low. So that when they fail, when the stakes are high, they will know what to do with failure. A lot of us, even as adults, we don't know what to do with failure. Because some of us failed. Some men, they lose their jobs. And it's just like their lives turned upside down. There was a time my beloved lost his job. He lost his job. And you know what? Many people don't even know. Many people still, they assume all is well. Because he won't sit down and just, look like someone that is doomed or something. He did something with that failure at that time. He did something. Some men will lose job and they will stay at home for 4 years, 5 years, putting all the expenses, all the burdens on the wives and all of that. No, it is because they were not taught, they were not given a safe to fail environment. Create a safe to fail environment for your children. Allow experiment, allow challenges, allow imperfect attempt. Give them, projects. Let them do it. Let them mess some things up. When the stakes are very low, without shame, without shame. Do this without shame. So the goal isn't raising a child who never fails. That's not the goal. That is not the goal. The goal is raising a child who knows failure cannot define them. If you get this, put it in the comments, in the chat box. The goal is not to raise children who never fails. Of course, like I said earlier, if you are raising children and you don't want your children to fail, come here. You are not doing well. You are not doing well, because whether you like it or not, at some point your child will fail. And that's why I keep saying, that's why I keep telling parents, don't prepare the road for your child. Prepare your child for the road. Because things can turn upside down. Things can change, plans can change. But if you prepare your child for the road, come rain, come sunshine, that child will stand. That child will stand. Stop sending your children to special center to go and write WAEC, to go and write JAM. Stop teaching your children shortcuts. Go pay. So the goal isn't raising children who never fail. The goal is raising children who understand, children who know that failure does not define them. The fact that they have failed doesn't mean their own has finished. I remember when I first wrote my WAEC and my results, were withheld. I remember a statement that my mother made that time, and each time I'm faced with a challenge, these statements will always, come to my mind. And that's what I do tell parents, that what you say to your children will become their inner voice. And my mother said, they said, when I was down, I was very ambitious. I was thinking that I would make all my papers, and the next year I'll be in the university studying and all of that. And I see people who are not even doing well academically as I was doing, gaining admission and all of that. And I became depressed. And my mother said, see, she said it in Yoruba. She said, "Wo, o fail the exam, you fail ilaye." What that means is that you just failed an exam. You have not failed in life. And that is the message that we need to give to our children. That you just failed an exam, you can write it again. You can fail. You can try, fail, and try again. You can try, fail, and try again. This is one of the important message we need to inscribe in our children's mind. The most successful children are not children who avoid failure. They are not. They are children who learn that failure is a teacher, not an identity. Let me say this again so that you understand what I mean. I said the most successful children are not children who avoid failure. The most successful children are children who learn that failure is a teacher, not identity. I would also say that failure is a data. And you know what we do with data? For those of us that are researchers, when we collect data, we analyze it. The data will give us the idea of what is wrong and what is it that we need to do. So failure is a data. Yes, failure is data, not identity. It is a teacher. It teaches. So your child's future will not be determined by how often your child succeed. Don't even think because your child is doing well now, then it is guaranteed that everything will work perfectly, in the nearest future. It will be shaped by what your child believe about him or herself. Let me say this again. I said your child's future will not be determined by how often your child succeeds, but it will be shaped by how your child what your child believe about him or herself. That is what uh, will determine, how your child's future will look like. If you found this session helpful, if you have learned anything from this class, please give me a thumb up. And don't forget to share the link to this session, link to this class, this class. Don't forget to share the link on your Facebook page or your WhatsApp status. Share it with parents, especially parents who are co-parenting with you, your children teachers, your church members, your neighbors, whoever that is co-parenting with you. Don't forget, let us learn and grow together. I created this platform so that all of us parents, we can come together to learn, to grow, and to raise children who are whole children, so that our society can be a better place to live. Do you know that all these problems that we are encountering now, um, uh, poor governance, kidnapping, stealing, armed robbery, is whatever name you call it, do you know that it is a parenting problem? They are all parenting problems. If we are able to get it right from home, if we are able to get our parenting right, honestly, all these social vices will reduce to the barest minimum. To the barest minimum. Every Saturday by 7 p.m., I am here on Parenting with Coach Ailua. Here we talk honestly about parenting. We talk about the hard things, hard topics that many avoid talking about. So every Saturday, join me here by 7 p.m. Let us learn together. Let us grow together. My name is Ayolu Adedeji. I'm the founder and the lead consultant at the Mother Family Focus. I am the parenting guru because I love to talk about parenting. I love to teach parenting. I love to learn about parenting. I love to write about parenting. I have written about 8, 9 books about parenting. If you have not read any of my books, you are wrong. Yes, let me tell you. Let me confidently tell you that you are wrong. Yes. The link to my books are on my description box. You can get all the books, from my online store. Thank you all for joining me. Until next time, keep parenting with intention.